Hey, this is Ray Saldana, National President and CEO of Communities in Schools. Welcome to another week and another episode of A Ray of Hope, where I highlight and share stories that will encourage and inspire you. But more importantly, I want to share stories that give you hope during these uncertain times. And today we kick off graduation season here at Communities in Schools. And we're thrilled to celebrate our students and 2020 graduates. This is a big deal because for many of our students, this will be perhaps they may be the first in their family to graduate from high school, or they will be proving folks wrong who may have thought that there was just too many obstacles in front of them for them to reach this stage. And unfortunately, in some cases, those people with doubts were the students themselves. But you've made it, we've made it, and in almost every case, it's because of the help of others, including our amazing superheroes on the ground, our CIS site coordinators. So I'm asking each of you, if you can, within the network, celebrate your students on social media by sharing their photos, maybe some words of affirmation for the hope and the inspiration that describes these students. And we're kicking it off May 11th through June 14th. And to model, the folks over at CIS of Michigan kicked us off by celebrating the senior class of 2020. Another example happened in Lufkin, Texas, with Dolores Perez, who made personal deliveries to her Lufkin High School seniors and dropped off not only gift, but just a ton of love in the last month. And close to home here in CIS of San Antonio, we have Caesar, a 2020 senior and a University of Wisconsin bound freshman next year, left us a gift through his artwork. And so Caesar, like many of our CIS students, are going to be walking into the next phase of life and walking a different kind of stage. He and I share a similar story in that we would be leaving home for the first time, but he and many others will confront not only their own uncertainties about college or life after high school, but a new kind of adversity, and they will need our help now more than ever. We are an organization that builds lasting relationships with young people in communities all across the country, and we know all too well that crisis can knock our students off their path. And the only way to cast out the darkness of this crisis is through light, and we need to shine brighter than ever for those students who, unfortunately, in many cases, know what the effects of poverty are like on them or their families or their future, who know that there's a thin margin of error, especially in this next phase of life. So to celebrate, we have to think about how this feels and lands a little bit differently for our students. And I will admit something, and maybe it's something that students can relate to, but I have struggled with what it's like just to feel like an imposter sometimes. These are doubts about my own accomplishments and just this persistent internalized fear about being exposed as a fraud. And I felt it when I took my first step onto the Stanford campus, or when I was knocking on doors asking for votes as a candidate for office, thinking about what it would mean to step in a position of leadership. And don't tell anyone, but even when being considered for the top job of president and CEO of a national organization like Communities in Schools, it's something that's hard to shake for students who haven't taken the path, in many cases who are the first to be trailblazing. So again, this is a monumental moment for our seniors, and I ask for you to help us celebrate them and their stories on social media with the hashtag #WhatWeAreMadeOf. And to be an example of that, the "what we are made of" word that I'm going to use is ganas. And that is something that my mother and father, whenever I left the house, they would say, échale ganas, whether it was going off to school or going off to college or on my way to a baseball game or a big test. Translates roughly into give it everything you've got. It's a sense of motivation, effort. So share with us, and we'll retweet, repost, like, and comment starting May 11th to June 14th about your seniors. Again, to our graduating class, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And to our CIS seniors, I know you have faith. It's what got you here. And even if you can't see the whole path, your CIS family is here to light the way. So congratulations on making it here to this moment. We will always be at your back. And congrats to the class of 2020.